Hello you. It's unusual back in. I haven't got that lovely wall behind me today because I'm up in Cheshire in the old house, which I'm doing a bit of work on. Sorted the garage out, got to do the loft yet, and then there's bits of building work got to do outside prior to selling it, which is kind of interesting, I guess. Yeah, I've been off the various tubes recently for various reasons, not least of which is I've been in hospital for the last 3 days. So I had a bit of an accident in the garage. I've been clearing the garage out, and there's lots of old timber and bike frames and all kinds of crap in there I need to get rid of. And I managed to spike myself on a piece of metal which went into my groin, and it went in about that far, and I had to go to the hospital with that. I thought I could pull it out myself, but I couldn't in the end. It went in through the skin and implanted itself in my body. So I had to go to the hospital, and I've had x-rays and CT scans and all that kind of stuff. Anyhow, it's still in there. They say they can't. It's lodged in soft tissue and it's not immediately a danger. So they've sent me home, and they're going to call me in to have it surgically removed, which is interesting. Not looking forward to that much, but it does mean I'm a bit behind the 8 ball in terms of getting all this stuff sorted out, because I've got to go back. Well, I want to go back to Cornwall as soon as possible, really. But I want to go back on Friday, but I'm not going to get finished everything I need to get finished by Friday, I don't think. Anyhow, it's also meant I've missed a lot of kind of interactions with you people. I've just been trying to catch up on YouTube and Vlogadome and Udoubled, and I will be making some responses. I just watched Gary. I just watched your video. I'm really sorry to hear about Thumbers getting killed like that. It's such a shame, isn't it, when that happens? I don't know. Anyhow, I did see my mum a few days ago, just before I went in. I mean, she just hasn't been knocked over and she hasn't got protruding thumbs or anything like that, but she's in a similar stage of her life, and it's funny, really, because she's 96, as you know, my mum, and she hasn't got long really, but she's still kind of there. She kind of knows who I am most of the time, and doesn't seem to be any pain, and seems to be reasonably happy. She hasn't entered that period of fear that people often get, or I don't know. She hasn't got any kind of existential. She's dying in the right order. Her neurons are dying in an appropriate way, so that's quite interesting and fortunate, I guess. I hope we all go out like that. It's funny actually, because I was in this, because she's in an old folks home, and I was in the old folks home, just talking to her, holding her hand. There's not a lot you can say. You just got to kind of be in the presence of this person. Really, that's how you got to do it. So I was holding her hand, and she's in this old folks home with other people around, and she's kind of coming apart. That's kind of what it feels like. So I was just imagining this room that we're in as if it was like divided up into like centimetre cubes. The whole space of this room was all kind of subdivided into centimetre cubed, and then each of those cubes was measured to see how much awareness there was in it. I don't know if that makes any sense. How much integrated. Oh God, I've really been reading about this with Instinct Theory by a guy named Tanoni. Integrated information theory, I think it's called. How much integrated information, which kind of correlates with awareness, in each of these cubes. You know what I mean? So you end up with this three-dimensional map of the amount of awareness in the room and where it's located. I can just imagine this, because there's all this material in the room, all these elements and compounds. Some like there's oxygen and nitrogen in the air, and then there's different kinds of substances in the tables, and then there's different kinds of substances that comprise people's bodies and all this kind of stuff. And then, but in the few centimetres that's right in the middle of this material piece of meat that's my mum, there's this area of complexity, these few centimetres here in all this space, which is quite complex and which seems to have an awareness in it. But you kind of, while you're talking to her, you can kind of feel it just unravelling, and just smoothing out, and just becoming part of everything else, really. It's that kind of thing, really. There's nothing mystical about it. I'm not trying to suggest that for 1 second. But yeah, that's kind of how it is, I think. And it's Easter. Look at that, Easter bunny. That kind of unravelling. I mean, there's something quite I'm saying this from the position of a live person, and live people appreciate things like beauty and have things like the concept of beauty. So I know I'm talking about this from the position of the living, but there is something sort of beautiful about that unravelling in a way. I know it's not for everyone, and for the vast majority of people and other animals it probably isn't. But about I just kind of imagine the state that it eventually reaches. You know, when my mum finally unravels completely, and there's just matter, and there isn't that integrated, complex information that's forming awareness in those square centimetres of flesh. When that's all gone, it'll just be like a smooth, uninterrupted piece of matter, won't it? You know, space. A space won't have any knots in it. There won't be those knots of intelligence. This is the kind of positive story I'm telling myself around that. You know what I mean? The writer of Samuel Beckett had this great phrase. Somebody asked him what he was writing. I love Samuel Beckett's writing, but he was writing something. Someone asked him what he was writing, and he said, "Another smudge on silence." Another smudge on silence. This idea that silence is the most perfect, beautiful thing, and any kind of disturbance of that, which like writing might be, is a kind of smudge in it. It's a kind of twist, a coil, a knot, an imperfection in the perfect, smooth silence of the universe. You know, it sometimes feels like that life is kind of like that. I mean, yes, it's kind of interesting, or can be interesting, and can be intriguing, and can be purposive, and all those kind of things whilst you're in it. But it's not as perfect as this smoothness that you get from just unravelling the knots, or just letting the knots unravel and let that integrated information disintegrate into that kind of entropy of nothingness, really. All the smudge has gone out of silence. Anyhow, that's that, really. So I'm sitting here. I can't go through the airport because I've got metal inside my body. I've got to go back and get it removed. I have thought about removing it myself. I might do that yet. I've been investigating the possibilities of that, just because my experience at the hospital wasn't great. You can see that the NHS is terribly overstressed right now. Morale is low, people are overworked, underpaid. I could probably do it myself better. I might do that. Get a scalpel and a pair of needle nose pliers and pull it out myself. Or no, I don't know. Anyhow, that's that, really. Sorry about your cat there, Gary. And I'll get back to watching other people's videos and making responses and updating the U-doubled project and all that kind of stuff. And see you on the tubes.